So my name's Tony Moura. Been a user experience architect for 15 years. I've always been a user experience architect, just didn't realize it was called something special. Started out doing web design, and finally somebody said, you know, you're kind of one of these user experience guys. And I went, you're right, I am. So I just ran with it. My presentation is what user experience is and what it really isn't, and how it can and cannot relate to mobile. UX is really basically how a person feels when they interact with your product or service. Once again, as it goes back to the shiny aspect. If it's not shiny and doesn't look great, if you went to Morton's and sat down and they said this is Chateaubriand and it looked like it had been put in a blender, what's the value proposition when you sit down? Would you really want to eat it if they told you that's what it was? No, so it's got to look shiny as well. It also goes just beyond the UI. A lot of time user experience, people think that it is, hey, you're just the UI guy. You're just going to put things as a layout and that's really it. UX also looks for the ease. It's also the perception of the value. That really is a big driving factor within corporations and you guys as startups. We also work on utility and efficiency of tasks. So from a user experience standpoint, how easy is it to go through? How easy can we make it for you, but let the user still achieve your business goals, which is either buying, purchasing, or doing whatever. UX also looks at and understands, develops subsystems on the back end. What are processes they got to be putting in place, even internally to a company, to facilitate a great user experience moving forward to meeting those business goals and objectives. UX is actually pretty complex. A user experience architect actually does make up an information architect, a user interface designer, an interaction designer, user experience and user research, and experience strategy, which is something completely different, and the visual design on top of that. This person typically has a background of 10+ years, and they can do almost any one of these areas in some aspect. Some companies, depending on how large you are, how global you are, will have these broken out into individuals themselves, or complete individual teams that all work together. By the way, the user experience process doesn't really work in an agile environment. Agile works really well. Some people go, yes it does, some people doesn't. I've never found it to work really well. Basically it's because, he's going, we do, a college board. But I've always found where the heavy thinking, the lifting, the kind of organic process of thinking of that user experience up front is so mishmashed that to put it in sprints of a 2-week or 3-week, and then if you don't get to it, put it in a backlog, really doesn't work out really well. Basically, the user experience architect tells the developers what to build. We give you the framework of what to build, and then you go ahead and actually kind of say, these are the controls we need to put in, or these are the aspects. Once it goes off to a production standpoint, we become a resource for that team. Hey, we need to change this control, or we need to do this for XYZ code reasons. Great, let me go back and see if it's going to impact anywhere within an interaction design 15 steps in, or if it's going to impact the user experience significantly. We'll let you know. This graph is a really good representation of what user experience is. And it also expands beyond our world in, say, mobile or technology, to where it shows industrial design, architecture, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. These all aspects in one way or another produce a user experience. When you go on a flight to a conference, you're sitting in that chair, it's uncomfortable, that's a user experience. These chairs are a user experience. Your car when you go home tonight, everything is a user experience. It's all around you, whether it's industrial or it's on a screen. Some of the companies that are doing it, honestly, I have to put Apple because they're built on it. Apple controls the entire user experience. I like to say the company's founded on it in a sense to this day recently since Jobs came back. The reason being is he says we're not going to allow this to happen or this to happen because we're going to control the experience as it's driven by the people that are building the technologies, you guys, because we're going to put you in this box and that's going to drive a great user experience from that. Microsoft, Living Social, 37 Signals, the FCC.gov redesign and launch, which I did as well. And then also Melmo, which is a company I just found recently that launched a BI application for, it's called Rambi. HSBC is all doing it. So major, as we all know, Fortune 500, 100 companies are now really catching on within the last couple of years. The user experience is a really big aspect that they really need to take a hold of. I'll tell you a quick story. I was brought into Wyndham Worldwide in Orlando. They had spent $3.8 million basically developing an internal application as well as public facing so you could book a resort or a timeshare. It was failing miserably. The VP calls me in and says, Tony, what's the problem? I said, what was your process? He says, well, we went from 40 business analysts to use cases that were 800 pages long, and we went right to the developers. And I said, well, what are you doing? Well, we're doing user testing and it's failing. There's an inherent problem in there. They didn't stop and talk to the end users of what they really needed to build for them to facilitate their business goals and objectives. They totally missed it. So almost $4 million later, I told them to stop, and a team of 4 of us had to go back and tell the business case or the business analyst, stop what you're doing, let us figure it out. We built the wireframes, and in 6 weeks, we had a fully working system that they can now restart building from. UX isn't another name which a lot of people like to throw around. Web designer, user-centric design, graphic design, human factors engineering, which you'll hear a lot. Information architect, interaction design, usability testing, customer satisfaction or marketing. Or we just want you to make it look pretty, which is the one I grind my teeth to dust about. The big thing is all these in one way or another are kind of subsets or aspects of a great user experience. You need all of these, but these are not what its core is fundamentally. Oh, that one got in there twice. Where's my other one? Who's heard of the $300 million button? Yeah, it's a good story, right? How many people know that one user experience architect made a shift in a layout change that was a simple form? It had 2 fields, 2 buttons, and 1 link. So it's not big. Anybody else can build it in 5 minutes. But a form that was preventing customers from purchasing products from a major e-commerce site to the tune of $300 million a year that they were losing. The form fields were email address, password, the buttons were login and register, and the link was forgot your password. We've all seen those, we've all used it. The big aspect of what it was is that you had to register as a user, as a member, to continue your e-commerce process checkout. Could we all see where that would fail? To the tune of $300 million. The big thing was when they got some user feedback, it says, I'm not here to enter a relationship, I just want to buy something. I just want to buy it and leave. Literally, the user experience architect moved that button to the last step of the process and basically said, hey, you know what, after you've purchased your product, if you're going to come back in next time, go ahead and click on this and fill it out, and we'll remember you when you came back. That was done by Jared Spool, and at the bottom there's a small link that you can see so you can read up on it, or you can do a Google search. But that simple fix basically increased, the purchasing went up by 45%, and it resulted in $15 million bound basically in the first month that they increased sales. It was $300 million in the first year. One UX guy, one concept, an entire development team of a major e-commerce company couldn't figure it out. But because a UX guy will think not only in the box, but globally out of the box and see what the problem is, we can see the chain and basically go, here's how you fix it. And it's a simple move. I wouldn't have charged them for this. I'd have taken a percentage of the fix. Just a quick UX example. This is also the very pretty in visual design. I like this one. I just found it this is a company called Melmo. I just found it literally on Monday. I thought it was really cool because from a mobile application standpoint, you eat with your eyeballs, just like that shiny aspect. So it looks really good. If you go and actually take a look at it, the functionality of the mobile app is killer. It works really, really well. They're a small company. They just came out. It's a business intelligence app. I forgot the VC firm that just gave them $30 million in funding. Yeah, we'd all like to do that, right? Or sell yourself to the devil, one or the other. Once again, that's my presentation. It's pretty simple. If anybody wants to talk to me afterwards about user experience, that's how to get a hold of me. I'm relatively new to the area. I've actually just started a company 2 weeks ago with another company that's in like an offshoot division. They're basically paying me a salary and allowing me to set up my own user experience company in town. What that will do is help facilitate you guys, hopefully in the end, so you can come to me and I can work with you on producing a better user experience for your end customers. Thank you.